Sometimes during the end of last month, August 2024, the Canadian government ended the public policy which used to be allowing visitors to be able to apply for work visas from within the country, that is from within Canada. And it ended that abruptly without even a warning. And these are the reasons. And what are the implications of this policy, because this is a policy which is going to definitely affect very many people, and you need to listen to this video to the end to understand what are the implications as someone who is living in Canada as a visitor, as a temporary immigrant, or as a person who is aspiring to get this visa to get to Canada for whatever reason. These are the implications of this policy, because this has been the policy which has been used since 2021, 2020 thereabouts, because of COVID-19. But right now, the Canadian government is trying to limit the number of people who are living in Canada as temporary immigrants. And this is the reason as to why they are issuing these policies after policies. And this should worry you as someone who is aspiring to get to Canada through whichever visa that is temporary. And the one which is common is either a student visa or a visit visa. And this video, I'm going to talk about them together. So if you hear me mentioning them, just know apply that interchangeably. So I'm going to read the policy for you so that we be on the same page. So the policy was Canada ends temporary public policy allowing visitors to apply for work permits from within the country. And what that basically means is that the people who are getting visitor visa and using it to apply for a work visa from within has ended on 28th August 2024. And what that means is that if you had not applied for the work permit, if you had not gotten a labor market impact assessment based job, you will not be able to file for a work visa or work permit from within the country. If you've gotten a job, you need to exit the country, you need to exit Canada, and that means you might need to get to your home country. Then you apply for a work permit you get to the line together with the other people, because that doesn't mean that you'll be given preference. And that might mean you waiting for months on end for you to be able to be considered for that work permit together with other people who are waiting in line. You know, before this policy came into effect, people used to get jobs. People used to get to Canada on a visit visa or student visa, apply for jobs which have labor market impact assessment, and be able to get a work permit while within the country. Right now, if you do that, what it will mean that you need to get outside the country. You need to get outside Canada first, and from there, you'll be able to apply for the work permit. And that means a lot of money, means refusals, means wasted time, means family disruptions, means disruptions of lives for different people because of different reasons. So let me continue reading. That was the headline of the public policy, which is issued by the Canadian Minister for Immigration from time to time. So let's continue. Immigration, Refugees and Citizenship Canada, what we usually call IRCC, has ended a temporary public policy that allowed visitors to apply for a work permit from within Canada, effective immediately. And in another video, I told you the reason as to why they're implementing this effectively immediately, because we are heading closer to an election year. And the ruling party for Justin doesn't want to lose the election. That is why they are trying everything within their power to show the Canadian voter, the average Canadian voter, that they are doing something to reduce the number of immigrants from illegal to legal, to students, to visitors, to tourists, all those types of visas. They want to show that they are limiting the number of people getting into Canada using those visas. And you can easily fall victim. You can easily suffer the consequences of these policies if you don't know. You just need to be informed and read the news over and over. All the time you check the news, what is happening, so that you plan better. Let's continue. IRCC introduced the policy in August 2020 to help visitors who were unable to leave the country due to COVID-19 pandemic-related travel restrictions. So this was a policy which was introduced to cater for the people who are stuck in Canada during COVID-19. Because we know during COVID-19, everything was disrupted, including travel. You could not travel to another country because of travel restrictions from different countries. So they introduced this policy to be able to allow people to live, work, while on a temporary visa, which can mean a visit visa, business visit visa, student visa, tourist visa. People were able to work, to live and work, provided they were able to get a work permit. So let's continue. In addition, foreign nationals who had held a work permit in the previous 12 months but who changed their status in Canada to visitor could apply to work legally in Canada while waiting for a decision on their new work permit application. Let's continue. While the application policy was set to expire on February 28, 2025, IRCC is ending the policy as part of an overall effort to recalibrate the number of temporary residents in Canada and preserve the integrity of the immigration system. Quote that, you need to understand what that means. They were supposed to end this policy on 28th February 2025, that is next year, but they've ended it earlier than it was expected. What does that mean? That just means that the higher levels of the politics, of the politicians, of the political establishment in Canada, what should I say? They relied on the lower levels. That is the Minister for Immigration, the lower levels, the people working at the port of entries, and the different people in the Department for Immigration to end this policy earlier. I think that is around 5 months earlier, because it was supposed to end in February 28th, 2025. And this is going to affect very, very many people, in thousands, because this will affect students, it will affect visitors, affect tourists, and the families of those people will be affected too in that problem. Let's continue. IRCC is also aware that some bad actors were using the policy to mislead foreign nationals into working in Canada without authorization. So this policy was also being abused. And I believe and I feel that the Canadian government is just using this. I know it happens, but they are using it so that to justify this action, so that they limit the number of people intending to come and work in Canada, because the Canadian government knows that people use these temporary visas, temporary pathways to be able to get to Canada, to be able to look for work. But I believe, because this is a political kind of a decision, with time these decisions get to be reviewed, because then again we know Canada is reliant on immigrants, and there are some jobs which rely on immigrants alone, like a personal support worker, healthcare assistants, people work in factories, farm workers. Those are jobs, very many. The biggest majority of Canadians are not willing to do. So those are the jobs which immigrants take. So these are policy which we are bound to see a reversal in the near future. Might not be very soon, but after the elections and we get a new government in Canada, or the one which is ruling, continuous ruling, we don't know which one is going to win. You can tell us in the comments what you think, which government is going to take over leadership in Canada past 2025. So whichever government takes over, we are likely to see a reversal of this policy, maybe in kind, maybe in wholly, maybe in part. We don't know what is going. It will depend on their own decision. So IRCC will continue to process applications submitted before August 2028 under the policy. So if you are lucky enough to have gotten a job and submitted this work permit application earlier, this policy might not catch up with you because you had already applied and they are going to consider. And you are not so sure that they are going to approve the work permit, because this thing cuts across, and it might punish you even if you had already applied for the work permit. I'm not a prophet of doom, but then again, it's just human to be able to have some foresight, so that you do proper planning and think if this is going to happen, what will be my next step. So for all those people who are planning to get to Canada using different types of visas which are temporary, more so visitor visa, student visa, and your end goal is to at the end of the day just change your intention to be able to live and work in Canada permanently using getting a work permit, or whichever way. Right now we are seeing not good times for people willing to get to Canada using temporary visas, because the future doesn't look good unless you want to wait for past 2025. And that will be when we are hoping to see changes in terms of immigration. Otherwise, thank you very much for watching this video. Make sure that you like this video, share it to at least one person. Don't forget to subscribe so that we get more people watching this channel.